welcome to Squad, your favorite source for everything esports and gaming. I'm Lisa, and if you're new here, no worries, this is what's going down tonight. We got Unmuted, where Marissa and Brody will be bringing you the latest in gaming news and memes. And then later on in Esports in 30, we gotta talk Rocket League with caster and analyst Achieves. But before we get to all of that, we gotta kick it off with a Rank It. We were inspired by the recent trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, so we decided to count down the top worst video game films.
Kicking off our list is the second worst fighting game movie ever, Street Fighter. The film changes the origins of nearly every character from the classic game. Ken and Ryu are now American con artists, Blanca is a soldier, and Chun-Li as a reporter are the worst examples. The huge cast means no one gets any screen time or development, and the fights aren't even exciting. The only exception is Raul Julia as M. Bison, who seems to know just how bad this film is and embraces it. He's not enough to save the movie, however, and Street Fighter is a film that should be skipped. Coming in at number 4 is Wing Commander, which shows just how far a bad script can take you. The answer? Not far at all. Starring Freddie Prinze Jr. and that guy who played Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies. Wing Commander features bad special effects, worse writing, and far too many movie cliches. Seriously, the graphics would look outdated in a 90s computer game. Fortunately, this movie made so little money that it's been relegated to the dustbin of history.
Wing Commander.
We chose the original Mortal Kombat as our best video game movie, and its sequel is a perfect contender for the worst. How could Mortal Kombat Annihilation be so bad? Easy. Take all the things that made the first one good and throw it out the window. The script is bad, the acting is worse, and most importantly, the fights are incredibly lame. Only 2 actors returned from the original, and it's safe to say that those that didn't made the best decision. At number 2 is Alone in the Dark, the worst film ever made from notorious D-movie director Uwe Boll, who made a career out of shitty video game movies. We could have filled this list with all of his movies, but that would be cheating. Alone in the Dark stands out because nearly every part of this film is poorly made. The acting, the directing, the writing, even things like the lighting are done so badly that you can't help but laugh. This was supposed to be a tense thriller. Instead, it's one of the worst movies ever made. There was only one film we could pick for the worst video game movie ever, and it's also the first. Super Mario Bros. Is special. It takes the fun from the games, throws it in a dumpster, and lights it on fire. How insane is this film? Mario and Luigi are plumbers from Brooklyn who enter a parallel dimension to defeat reptilian Dennis Hopper. Every scene looks like it was shot in a sewer town. The special effects are trash, and the story is non-existent. Super Mario Bros. Must be seen to be believed, but trust us, you should avoid this like the plague.
Welcome to Unmuted, where we got your gaming and esports hot topics, hot tweets, the spiciest memes. I'm Marissa Roberto.
And I'm Brody Moore. Producer Tyler has 2 minutes on the board and topics at the bottom of your screen. One of us may need to shut the other one up.
Yeah.
Probably be me shutting her up for 30 seconds, so we have a trusty mute button to do that.
Then watch the other one when they press the button to see them scramble and try to fill 30 seconds of the other one talking. Brody failed miserably yesterday if you missed that one. Anyway, we love it when chat calls us out when we're wrong, so don't be shy. We can take it. Let's kick off our stories with a nice dose of controversy in League of Legends.
Okay.
The mid-season invitational began yesterday. With one exception, things went smoothly. But before the day began, someone at Garena, the company who runs League in the LMS, accidentally turned the stream on early. Said official also forgot to close his desktop, which had a browser open to an esports betting website. Within a few hours, Garena announced that it had fired the official due to the ethical principles of esports. So, Brody, did Garena make the correct decision here, or do you think this maybe will affect the LMS somehow and how it's perceived?
Yes, so oftentimes I actually believe that people should be given a second chance. You mess up, do a second chance. If you mess up again, you're out. But this is very, very risky. I'm all for legal betting on esports.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're of the age and you go on a website that has a license to do it, and you're doing it legally, that's fine. The issue comes when you're working for the company that is running the tournament that you're betting on. Because now that brings into question, are you causing problems? You could cause a technical issue with one of the players' computers on the team you're betting against to make them lose. There are a lot of issues I have with that. And if they did not get rid of this guy, they would have just been under flack for a really long time. Like, oh, is everyone betting? Are they rigging matches? Is this all scripted? So they had to get rid of this guy.
Well, yeah, now because he's done that, that means they have to actually go through and check. They should go through and check every other employee's computer. They need to see the history in that as well, because you're right. This is insider trading. This is insider betting. This is not okay. This is completely illegal.
It's not good.
Of course, this is not good at all. Like, I'm also all for betting. I love me some gamblings, but you have to do it legally, and you can't be involved in any way with what it is that you're betting on. This crosses the line completely, but just goes to show that esports is still so young, and there's so many things that need to be sorted out, especially when it comes to betting. And it's kind of scary out there to think about all the people getting away with stuff like this that haven't been caught yet.
Well, and a lot of it's smoothed out. We have seen, we've seen orgs, not paying players and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think we're always going to go through these like hitches. We're going to have these problems. And they need to happen though. But now you'll probably never see this happen again. The good thing for this guy,
we'll see it happen.
Yeah, probably. The good thing for this guy though is now he can go bet.
But now he can't. Well, maybe he was winning before because he affected
the matches somehow
Maybe.
before that. We don't know.
I guess we don't know. We'll find out later another time. We are moving on to the next story. Longtime FGC news site Event Hubs is looking for a new writer to cover Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yeah.
But in the job application, it says that applicants must play a set of Ultimate online in order to gauge their skill in the game. Some in the FGC, like Gutex, thinks this is a good idea to test a writer's basic skill. But many more thought the idea was stupid, like James Chen, who thinks that passion and writing ability trump any amount of skill a person may have.
Yes, James Chen. Yes, James Chen.
No,
I love James Chen.
I love James Chen, but I do not agree here.
Oh, of course you don't, because you do fit the mentality of Gutex more, PogChamp. You do, really, because you're on the other side of the fence, I feel like, for most of these things. You lack empathy with a lot of...
What do you mean I lack empathy?
You lack empathy, and so does Gutex.
The only skill I have is empathy. I lost all my intelligent points and put them all into empathetic points.
Okay, you've yet to show me
This
any
is
of
what
that.
it is. I believe if someone is writing about something, you need to know what you're talking about. Now, I don't think this guy's got to be like top level, like, you know, top 100 in the world or anything, but you have to know what you're talking about. If you start writing about something and it's clear that you don't really understand, and the pros will pick that out, the people that know the scene will pick that out. On the internet, you will get called out. And if you don't know, it looks bad on the company that employed you to write that stuff, because no one's going to take those articles seriously anymore. I want to know that the person that I'm employing to write about this game knows about the game. At least to a little degree, you know?
Just because they're not the best at playing the game doesn't mean they don't know about the game, Brody. Basically, what you're saying to me right now, though, what you're saying to me right now is that you're basically insulting my whole life in video games, because I'm not amazing at video games.
But you know them.
Exactly, but I know them, so I have the passion behind it and the understanding behind it. I know the developers, I know the people that make these games. I play the game enough to understand the basic mechanics of the game. I'm watching the game. I watch these pros do what they do. I respect the hell out of them. So respecting a game enough should be good enough for you to jump in and be able to write something amazing.
I think you may have missed my point.
I didn't miss your point.
I'm saying someone that comes in,
make it better.
There's a really good writer that writes sports stuff. Do you think he should suddenly start doing esports stuff without knowing the game at all?
No. You know what? Thank you so much for bringing that up. There are so many amazing sports writers out there that can't play a lick of sports. They stink at sports.
But
they can't even play like Beer League baseball. No,
they've been in it and they know the game.
They've been in it, but they're not professionals at it. But
they understand the meta. You don't have to be good. You have to understand how the game works.
Are we arguing the same point now?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because you lost sight of what you were talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about. You are really bad at this.
No, you basically just started agreeing with James Chen.
You need to know the game that you're talking about. If you don't, you're not getting the job.
You know the game. You don't have to be a professional at the game. Okay, so basically we're both agreeing with James Chen. Thank you so much. My point exactly. Brody, he doesn't even know what the F he's talking about. I swear to God. Yesterday, Borderlands 3 gameplay reveal went off without a hitch, but online things got pretty spicy. Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford said on stage that Borderlands 3 would not have loot boxes or microtransactions, but when Game Informer talked to developers, it turned out that the game would have cosmetic microtransactions. When they reported on it, Pitchford had a meltdown, cursing out Game Informer and its editor-in-chief and accused them of lying, all because he doesn't believe cosmetic purchases in-game are considered microtransactions. So, Brody, is Pitchford right on this? Are cosmetic purchases microtransactions?
Randy! I already did not like Randy.
Why?
Oh, dude, he had a tantrum on Twitter a few weeks ago.
It wasn't a tantrum.
Someone's like, hey man, respectfully someone said, hey man, unfortunately I can't support this game because it is going to be on a service I don't want to use. And he's like, good, then you won't need to be following me, and blocked them. Like, how childish you have to be to just like, oh, any criticism, I'm going to block you. And now he doesn't know what the word microtransaction means. Like, how are you running a games company when you don't understand basic concepts like that and the concepts you're putting into your game? Jesus.
Yeah, well, I guess to him, microtransactions meant that it aids your gameplay in some way. Like, he's maybe referring to what everyone was salting on EA
That is
for.
a type of a microtransaction.
That's a type of microtransaction, yeah. So maybe there was a disconnect there with the communications team and people that were prepping him to do, to speak at the Borderlands reveal at the party. I'm just trying to empathize a little bit with Randy because he's got a lot of pressure just being the CEO.
It would have been fine. It would have been fine if he had been like, you know what? I didn't know. Sorry, I was misinformed on what a microtransaction was.
Yeah.
But instead, he's going out and calling all the people, calling him out liars. They're saying that they're making him look bad. No, you're making yourself look bad, buddy, by not understanding and not accepting any criticism. This guy does not know how to be. And I get it. It is rough being in game development. It is very stressful. You're gonna get a lot of hate. I'm sure he gets a lot of death threats and stuff.
Constantly.
I'm sure there are a lot of things that are not good, but that is not how you deal with those in the public light. You either just don't say anything, or you just say, hey, I've had a lot of issues with people. I'm gonna have to block people that do this. You can say it nicely.
Yeah, and just be
you
kind
can say
about
it
it.
nicely.
You're right, but it's
he's
hard.
being
it's
a baby about it.
Listen, it's hard not to be salty when it's just been happening for so long.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with a lot of gamers. Like we just saw it even yesterday with the Rocket League community just trashing all over the Epic and Fortnite marriage. Like we see it happen all the time. The immediate reaction from gamers, especially, or even gatekeepers, I like to call them, is to be hateful. Is to just scorn whoever it is in charge.
Better ways to handle it than the way he does. Anyways, we're gonna move on. Lastly, we have all love to play video games in our downtime, of course, but for the Boston Red Sox, that downtime won't be spent playing Fortnite. Several players on the baseball team have said that Fortnite has been banned from the team's clubhouse for being a distraction. The Red Sox currently hold a 14-17 win-loss record this season. For reference, Fortnite was played in the Red Sox clubhouse all last season, and that team went on to win the World Series. So, you know, maybe this is gonna hurt them, or maybe they're like, oh, I think they're like 4th in league or something now. It's like, you guys aren't first, no more Fortnite.
No, okay, hold on. 4th in the AL East, which is very bad. And especially because like the Red Sox are supposed to be amazing this year. Yeah, I mean it looks bad on them. They're just having a slow start to the season. They'll pick it up. Don't worry, they're going to be fine. I don't think video games should be banned in clubhouses, but it's again up to the team. It's up to the management. Like if the manager doesn't want them playing, then they don't get to play. Like that's just how it works. And they can save that and they can play games together on their off time. But I do feel like, especially with games like Fortnite or anything, you can squad up with a team. It's really great for camaraderie. Like it's just nice to all get together and play. So I don't see anything wrong with playing video games in clubhouse. I feel like it's a great way to
The issue could come is like they got their Switches and they're like on the bench playing during the games.
That would never be allowed. They would get fined.
Maybe then you call it, but like, yeah, no, I mean like we're video game enthusiasts here, so I think we're always going to be an advocate for playing games.
For sure.
I do understand that they should be focused on their game, and if they're not living up to the coach's standards right now, then sure, get rid of it for a bit. A permanent ban on it, but is it just Fortnite? Like, can they go and play Rocket League?
Okay. Well,
they just switch games.
No, but the thing is, like, players were getting in trouble for playing during games, and that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is, like inside the clubhouse. You can't see it out there, but inside the clubhouse, that's not fair. They should be watching their other teammates actually play the game of baseball. This is why so many people salt on baseball all the time, because they feel like they're not real athletes. They're just like hanging out, they're sitting there, they're doing nothing. There's some chubbier players making their way and making professional athlete money when they're just, you know, kind of chubs and eating a lot of pie. Like, they don't.
A lot of money too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't respect baseball players for that reason. So, I mean, having this attached to it, being like gamers and not paying attention to their other teammates playing the game, then yes.
Why,
understandable why it was banned if that's the case. They gotta just respect the team, you feel?
Yeah,
respect the team.
That's fair. I mean, I'm all for video games, but yeah, do your job you're being paid to do first. Really.
Yeah, win something. But I would be happy with the Red Sox not winning anything this entire season. No, really.
Now it's time to see what the streamers are up to and clip it. Stream snipers are one of the worst things streamers have to deal with, but XQC found out that some of them can be just so dosh garn adorable.
Please do a hoodie with Pepe hands on the back. Smile. Please do a hoodie with Pepe hands on the back.
Hands up.
Please do a hoodie with Pepe hands on the back.
Chad, how good is the VSS? And
Please
do we need gun tiers?
With Pepe hands on the back. Smile.
Max. Oh.
I'm sorry, man. I have to. Those I get banned, dude. They're gonna ban me, dude. I'm telling you. I'm sorry, buddy.
Okay.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
one-tapped.
Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Well,
I liked having you on, man. It was nice meeting you.
it's all good. It's all good.
It was nice meeting you, buddy. I hope you have a good day, okay?
Shroud killed me multiple times.
Yeah.
Moxie. I've had the.
Okay, I mean, like that was good. That's like the one good thing I've seen XQC do. He actually apologized. After he felt bad.
But wasn't it sarcastic?
No. So if he didn't kill the guy, he could be considered teaming up with other players, which is against the term of service. So that could have been an issue, maybe an issue.
Oh, you're making excuses for him. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gotten banned, but oh man, I don't know. I love it when kids are just innocently just playing the game. Like, it's so fun to just hear them have a hands up. Like, that's so fun. That makes those moments.
Like, there's been nothing in this world that has tainted them or ruined their mentality
and even
on life in any way just yet.
Couldn't bring that to be a bad clip. It was even good with XQC in it.
He seems sarcastic, but I mean,
hey,
let's move on
I'm
here.
all for the hate.
Destiny is the latest streamer chiming in about S-Fan and Mizkif being banned over sexual harassment allegations, and here is what he had to say.
It feels really to me that somebody would reach out and do that. It's really that somebody would do that, because that type of follows you around forever. Like, that action is going to cost Mizkif thousands of dollars just looking at the ban itself, not even looking at the fact that he might not get bounties anymore, but like just looking at the ban itself, it's going to cost him thousands of dollars. It also puts him at risk for an elevated ban next time, because if he gets banned again, it's possible that his next ban, because this is a 7-day, is instantly a 30-day ban. And then it also makes him look bad for future anything, whether it's sponsors, whether it's employers, whether it's another streaming platform, because now, Mizkif, he was banned for sexually harassing a woman on stream. Like, it looks really bad. Like, there are so many really parts about like how this happened, and I don't know. I don't want to talk much because I don't want to get them in more trouble, but like, if this happened to me, I would probably get banned from Twitch. I feel like it would be really hard for me to not go nuclear on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there might be some context that you guys need here. So these guys, Mizkif and NZ, they were at an after party. I think it was at PAX, and they were just filming, streaming, like streamers do at a PAX party. And there was a cosplayer that they were talking to who definitely dresses very scandalously.
Oh wait, somebody type in chat right now! Exclamation point.
Yeah, if you take your shirt off, you're saying objectify me. But no, she was very scandalously. So they were having fun. They were playing like a kind of dominatrix kind of role. She was calling him a little wimp or whatever, just like saying like like downplaying him, and it seemed like they're having fun. It seemed like she was having fun with this, right?
A little back and forth,
so he panned the camera. The camera got panned away for a sec, came back very quickly, and he made a joke like, "Oh, in that time she sucked my," it's just playing along with it, playing with it. But they realized afterwards so she reached out and said, "Hey, I didn't like that joke," and they're like, "Hey, we're sorry. We meant it as a joke, but we apologize. It was distasteful." They're like, "Okay, we think that's the end of it." Month later, she reaches out and with her legal team to Twitch to get him banned. Yeah, that's scummy. That is scummy. You think it's over, you think it's done. It looked like you're all having fun. Clearly there's a misunderstanding. You dealt with it like adults.
Yeah.
But then you didn't. You came back like a little child with your legal team behind you.
Okay, whoa. It's so hard to say what's what here, because we're not these people, right? Like, we don't know. I don't know what was going on in her head after the fact, because that's the thing. Like, a lot of people chime in with their own opinions after too, and that affects the original person's opinion, right? So who
she's
knows?
not thinking for herself.
So we don't know. It could be a legal team. It could be a mom. It could be a dad. It could be like just friends around too. It's like looking at the situation, being like, "Yo, you were objectified here. You should do something about this." Like, they were having a back and forth. She was saying some things back to him too, but he took it to that was a step over the line.
Yeah, that's fine. And they apologized for that. And you think that's the end of it because as adults, you dealt with it.
I mean, all of this is a learning experience, I feel like, for everybody. It's not just for them.
It's not just a learning experience, because now this guy has to deal with a ban.
No, because here's what's going to happen now. All these people that are upset about his ban, they're going to go and they're going to flame her. They're going to attack her, but not only her, but other women who maybe dress a certain way.
She deserves it, though, now.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
She's being a dick.
No, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
You don't get to be a dick and get away with it.
No, this is how witch hunts start. This is unhealthy. This is not okay for the community. It's not okay for anybody who wants to be a streamer, any woman especially, getting into these roles that maybe, listen, Brody.
Then maybe put some clothes on.
Oh, Brody, you can't tell people how to dress, though. Like, you can't tell people
Then you can't tell people what jokes they can make.
Yes, if it's offensive, yes, you can.
Offensive is subjective.
It truly is the best time of day where we scroll the Twitters to bring you all the things the pros bless us with on their timeline. You know we love Sonic Fox for his honest and open tweets, so you know he really means this. Do not associate me with a Sonic the Hedgehog movie if you don't want your shins to be deleted. And of course, somebody did respond after by just putting, like, they screen grabbed Sonic's mouth and just being like, because, like, how do you not? He has, like, human teeth. So honestly, this is exactly like how Brody feels when compared to fellow, much more famous Canadian Jay Baruchel.
can I put a GIC in a TFSA in an investment portfolio like a turducken of savings?
That's a good idea. I think I'll do that.
Brody, I didn't know you were doing RBC commercials too. That's amazing.
I used to fight this, but I just accept it now. I do have a weekly quota that I now expect of being called Jay Baruchel. Like legitimately, at least once a week, sometimes more. I've had people take pictures with me because of how close they think I look.
Can we please make a command in chat for just the Jay Baruchel something to come up, or a new emote for subscribers? Jay Baruchel.
This is my life. I'm always living in the shadow. So I'm gonna forget about it by moving on. This next one is great because it's never too late to start caring about your skin, fellas. League of Legends Pro X Smithy with the real talk. When you gotta kill some noob top laners in the Rift and be a lady killer outside of the game. You know what?
The moisture.
I get it.
You do?
You know what? Hey, I feel.
Yeah? Do you take good care of your skin?
because I just have great skin. But if I didn't, I would have. I get, you gotta have good skin, especially if you're gonna be in the public face. You know, these guys, when they're on stage, you wanna look good, right? You wanna have clean skin, and it's just nice to have skin that works with you.
Yeah. I feel like, Brody's one of those guys that literally doesn't even wash his face with soap. He just, like,
I
rinses
shower
it with water.
every single day, sometimes twice. I love showers. I love being clean. I'm obsessed with it. Just because I come from Smash Brothers does not mean I have bad hygiene. I was good before them. They did not taint me.
I do have to let you know right now that Tyler is inquiring in my ear. He really wants to know what your skin regime is.
My skin regime? Well, you know, it all depends what you're doing. If you're just trying to get rid of acne or anything, shower, open those pores, you know, go pop those pimples right after, close the pores with a cold washcloth. That's all you need to do, really. Maybe hydrate a bit with some lotion, but I don't do that because I just have really nice skin.
That's not a regime, though.
Yeah, that's it.
That's just
all you gotta
showering.
do. Yeah, so shower.
Okay.
Look at that.
All right. Our last profound thought is from our very own Brody Moore. Like someone, looks like someone just went to the movies.
Yep.
He says, Avengers Endgame? No. Avengers Perfect.
Oh my God.
And that was one of Brody's best tweets.
No! I've had. Are you kidding me? The shade. She put this on just for the shade.
No.
Just for the shade. Just for the shade. Bro, actually perfect. Please, everyone go watch because I'm not going to spoil anything. Please, actually go. What? I want to talk to everyone about it. Are you okay?
No, Avengers Perfect. Like, Brody, honestly.
It was!
No, yeah, clearly. I know. I can see your excitement in your face. I'm so happy for you.
I'm just going to take it like you were saying that I had a really good tweet.
Yeah, it was
genius.
amazing.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
All right,
Perfect.
now let's move on because it's time to get to some crowd control. In the theme of realistic Sonics, Sexy Jazz decided to round up the 4 horsemen. Oh, that Peppa Pig. There's Ludicolo and SpongeBob as well. Can you look at SpongeBob? Hey, you know what? SpongeBob is still more true to the character than that Sonic is.
No.
Yes.
No, wait, oh my God.
Yes.
SpongeBob is frightening.
One of my favorite comments about that was someone's like, that Peppa Pig just looks like my neighbor. The shade.
That is so wrong.
I would love to see a whole movie of cartoon characters done realistically. Like, I want to feel uncomfortable.
No, that's enough for me.
You're out.
Yeah, I'm gonna tap
That's
on
a no
this
deal.
one. We need something nice, so BOT_Dubs_Nick is gonna lighten the mood with our next meme.
Nobody is
You
born
see,
cool.
nobody is born cool, except of course the gamers who say GG even when they lose.
It's real talk. You know what? That is actually one of the hardest things. Chat, be honest. Be honest right now. How many times do you actually say GG once you win? Probably not often. It is so hard when you lose, especially if it wasn't a good game. And so this is why I just keep my chat turned off at all times, so I don't have to say anything.
No, Brody,
it saves me from having to say GG when I'm mad.
No, it's just part of good sportsmanship. You should absolutely congratulate the other team for winning.
Here's the thing, though.
They bested you.
You don't know how you play more single player games, right? So you're not put in the pressure of losing.
That's not true. You know what? I play a lot of Clash Royale.
And I'm sure. Oh yeah, but you win all the time. So you know.
I don't win all the time. It's actually very difficult to win all the time in Clash Royale. I've been grinding like crazy. There's no. So you don't have to deal with it. Get out of here. There is. There's little emotes, and then there's prompts. You can say "good game," of course, and just let them know. And we do. Honestly, when it's a good game, we'll let each other know. But there's also little emotes that you can use to taunt the person after you beat them too.
Send them an email. GG, good game.
No, I don't. No. It's just good to have good sportsmanship. Honestly, again, back to the karma thing. Even though Brody doesn't believe in it, neither does Tesla in the chat. I saw you guys going back and forth last last time. It is real. It is real. What you put on the universe tends to give back to you. So if you're a little more positive out there, somehow positivity will find its way back to you.
If I put nothing out there, then nothing comes back. I remain completely neutral.
Okay, well, if that's the life you want to live, then live that life.
Last post time! Ever had a big bug jump on you and you just like start freaking out? Yeah. Well, Kras can feel that too, as D6 Energy found out in Far Cry. Or Cars, sorry. So you just think, all right, this guy's out. This guy's out. Oh, get it off of me. Get it off of me. Help, please. I don't want this anymore, these humans. So gross. Oh, we're safe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you could feel the emotion of the car.
Was that NPC?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It just got murked. It's like, get it off! See, that's just what she's like whenever I just even get near her.
That's
get away.
true. I don't like being touched.
No,
like, I gotta say, I really
she's so
don't
hypocritical.
like,
She'll turn around and just start ripping my eyebrows out.
Okay, because my love language is not physical touch. That's yours. So I could touch your shoulder and be like, "Good job, Brody. You were so great today," and you would accept that as love.
But it doesn't mean you ripping my eyebrows out.
Oh no, that's just an issue I have. I have OCD. No, I have OCD. Like I need to, if his eyebrows aren't in perfect position, I need to like go through and just fix them. It's not you. It's me. That's all, friend muted. Remember that you can always hit us up on our socials just to say hi and send us stuff to react to. Someone type in exclamation mark in the socials right now, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
GG. Not easy.
Rip?
Easy GG.
XGG.
I was gonna talk about like the level that took me the longest ever to beat. So you guys ever played Burnout?
Wait, did anyone bring coins yet? Why are you telling us the story?
Oh my
This is the one. Oh my god. Where does it take us? Halfway? Can you
Wait, it's the end of the level?
No. It's middle. That's a stick.
If you're enjoying our Throwback Thursdays where we play retro games in the green room, I want to see a PugChamp in chat right now, so spam it. Remember, you can always hit us up on socials to let us know what game you want us to try playing, or send us any of the funny clips you grabbed from the green room through there. All right, Squad States. Now, just in a bit, Brody and Nick will be calling up caster and analyst Achieves to be talking about Rocket League, because trust me, there's a lot to break down. But first, it's time for the news. In the biggest news of the week, Epic Games announced that it had acquired Rocket League developer Psyonix. Though the deal is subject to normal closing conditions, Psyonix will join the Epic Games family sometime around the end of May or the beginning of June. While the payment total has not been disclosed, considering that Rocket League has sold over 10.5 million copies, my guess is that it's in the range of more money than most people will ever earn in their lives. However, the announcement caused plenty of confusion. In its initial press release, Epic said that Rocket League will be available for purchase on both the Epic Games Store and Steam until late 2019. That makes it sound like it would be removed from Steam, but Epic later sent out another statement saying that there are no plans right now to stop selling the game on Steam. All this means is that we have no clue what will happen to Rocket League on Steam, and that Epic is really bad at writing clear press releases. Rebranding an esports organization is a costly and, frankly, difficult endeavor. Unless you're Immortals, who have rebranded to Immortals Gaming Club after raising $30 million in Series B funding. In that case, throw that cash at whatever the hell you want. And that's exactly what Immortals did. In addition to raising money, the American-based org also purchased the Brazilian game matchmaking platform Gamers Club. The service connects over 1 million Brazilians across several online games, but most prominently in CSGO. Immortals currently runs a Rainbow Six Siege and Clash Royale team under its own name, but also operates the Los Angeles Valiant in Overwatch and Made in Brazil in CSGO. And with a huge new gaming platform under its belt, it looks like Immortals has no intention of slowing down its growth anytime soon. It's rare to see existing esports orgs enter Dota, thanks to the turbulent scene. It's even more rare for an FGC org to expand outside of fighting games. But that's exactly what happened this week, as Beast Coast entered Dota 2 with the signing of Team Team's roster. Composed of Eternal Envy, Ryoya, TMT, Brax, and IX Mike, Team Team was formally unsigned, but placed in the top 6 at ESL Mumbai and won Seasons 2 and 3 of the Dota Challenger League. More importantly, they are set to compete at the MDL Disneyland Paris Major in a few days. As the 4th major of the current Dota Pro Circuit season, Beast Coast has a good shot of catapulting to the top of the scene if they can place well at the event. Not too bad for an org that has never fielded teams outside of fighting games before.
Following on the wall, Bluey coming here. He'll get it through the front line offense and to carry it towards the goal. Beats one more. Can he get it through? Everybody gets wow! And puts it in himself. 1 second remaining. They've got to keep it up and in the air. It's over to the side. Classics looks and he will be able to pop it a bit, but a little bit low on boost. Crept G now.
Oh, it's dangerous.
Here comes Drippay to put it in, and they get the buzzer beater.
I love the smell of burning rubber and goal explosions in the afternoon. Welcome to Esports in 30, where today we're fueling up to talk about all the insane amount of ridiculous goals scored this past weekend in the RLCS. I'm Brody, and this is Nick, and between us, we maybe have a brain capable of breaking this all down.
What do you think? It's like 60-40 for me?
60-40? You know what, I'll take that. But that's still not nearly enough smarts to give you a full rundown. While we call up a galaxy brain to grace us mere mortals with his knowledge, join me as I stare slack-jawed at these highlights.
Going for a 30, does get it by the 3rd defender. Great solo plays. Illusion off the ceiling, going for it, and left came out of nowhere. Memory finishes it off. Now a chance for Goats and an epic save, but a follow-up. Illusion tying it up.
From G2, it seems like they just won't let up a mistake.
Oh, J-Naps. G2, the freestyle coming out, and J-Naps.
Now game 3. Ghost one away. An Illusion dumps another one in. 1 second remaining. They've got to keep it up and in the air. It's over to the side. Classics looks, and he will be able to pop it a bit, but a little bit low on boost. Crept G now.
Oh, it's dangerous.
Here comes Drippay to put it in, and they get the buzzer beater.
Gimmick up for this, but it is played away by Sypical. Torment up for this on the backboard. He has a second touch. Does he have a third? He does. Torment triple tap into the net. Sypical has an open net.
He bumped him.
And it's 1-0. Space Station, don't stop coming. Pass over to Sypical. He's got his man off the post. Zaphew shot. Squishy gets there. AXP finishes.
We actually saw Justin bomb Fireburner on accident, and that's why Fireburner completely missed the hit on that one. And Garrett!
Wow. Garrett G.
This was a sensational play. Look at Garrett getting his flip reset, waiting till the end, immediately jumping and pushing it. And a good save there by Chicago as well.
Needed to see them step up. Justin almost making the entire team miss. He does it, and he scores. Justin is incredible.
So yeah, NRG are freaks at this game, and with that win over G2 are now sitting alone and away in first. G2 and C9 eat their first losses and are in second, while Space Station and Ghost pick up some much needed wins to end up sitting in a playoff spot, at least for now. Sadly, this means that Splice is officially the first team headed for relegation. Now there's only one more week of play left, and with so much to sort through, we're welcoming back the man who died on the Mouse Sports Hill with me. It's Michael Cheese Williams. What's up, dude?
I'm back. It was a great hill to die on, Leaf. So I was totally with you. How are you guys?
Well, I'm looking forward to more bad predictions, I suppose, with you at some point. But why don't we dive into NA first, though, and talk about NRG, because they're really, really good.
Yes, NRG. I would just like to say, before it all started, I called it. You know, they're gonna go 7-0, and now they've got to get through Rogue and Cloud9 to prove it. So they are definitely looking like monsters. Garrett's making big plays. Justin's making big plays. Fireburners with the challenge game and not letting anything past him. They're on point right now.
It seems like a lot, though, throughout this NRG run. And I mean, we saw over in Europe how hard it is to go undefeated with Vitality actually losing their first game, which we're going to get to in a second. But when it comes to NRG, they do rely a lot on Justin. We saw Garrett with some pretty sick goals. But is that just the system that they like to use right now? And do you think that
Justin is their system?
Justin is the system, and he makes reality what he chooses it to be?
Yes, that was a quality meme, and I think, yes, there is a lot of reliance on Justin, of course, but that's just because he's so mechanical mechanically gifted that he really can do kind of whatever he wants. He's very good at hiding his intentions and what he wants to do with the ball, and that's why he's so good at making a lot of big solo plays. There's a lot of value in him being able to play upfield because Garrett and Fireburner will just get him the ball and he'll do something with it. And even if he doesn't do anything with it, he's just going to rotate back. He's going to make the stop. He's going to let Garrett G and Fireburner do whatever they want on offense. And then they'll just get the ball right back because Justin will be the first guy to rotate back. And then he'll do another crazy air dribble and he'll just beat everybody. So yeah, there's a lot riding on Justin on that team, but he's good enough to do it.
Is this going to be useful though once they face up against teams like Vitality over in the European region? Are those solo plays still going to be viable?
It's, I mean, that's a very interesting question because Vitality kind of have the same thing going for them. Scrub Killer tends to do a lot of that. And so it really does come down to how well you can shut down those players and get the ball off them. So will it help? Maybe. You kind of have to see the matchup play up one time before you can really figure it out because they've never played each other before. So not sure.
Well, we will eventually soon. Land's not too far off.
Yeah. Now, we're going to talk about a team now that, like we said in the past, Brody and I are really high on, and this week for them was a roller coaster. SSG, their season was pretty well dead when they lost to Ghost, and then they saved it by defeating Cloud9. So talk to us about SSG, and are they potentially like now an upset team heading into playoffs?
I think Space Station, since the start of RLCS, and even going back to right before it with DreamHack Leipzig, you know, they were really kind of that dark horse team in the North American region. Certainly the strongest team out of the rival series. And yeah, the loss to Ghost was rough, but we talked about him last time I was here. Lucian actually played out of his mind last week and got Ghost 2 wins. So Space Station Gaming, they've been close to winning series off top teams all season long. 5 games against G2 and beating Evil Geniuses 3-0. It's Space Station. It feels like a very hot and cold team. If they're hitting shots, Cyclical's on form, everything's going to go into the back of the net and they're going to win. But it's just sometimes they beat themselves more than anything.
Well, this is the thing. We've seen bubble level teams before, you know, have these really good performances, and then but now of course we've seen these guys come for the rivals. They've proven themselves to get into the RLCS, but are there going to be that same situation where like they just kind of shine for a few months and then they're out of the picture again?
I don't know. That's
do they have that staying power?
I think yes, because their biggest problem currently is, again, the shooting accuracy, and that comes with time. If they're able to avoid relegation, come back for next season of RLCS, during the offseason, all of that's going to be improved, and then it'll get better and better, and they will really be a strong contender in North America, because apart from NRG, they've hung up pretty well with every single team they've played against so far.
There's a team, though, that wasn't hanging too well this past weekend. I'm sure they actually want to probably erase this whole weekend. Cloud9.
Yes.
What happened?
They lost to SSG, and then they also lost to rival series teams in the DreamHack qualifiers. So it was a horrible weekend all around for Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 historically has unfortunately had just one week where everything just goes horribly, horribly wrong, and they just get beat. And apparently it's been week 4. It was week 4 last year in RLCS as well.
That's true.
The rival series teams, they like to beat Cloud9 every now and again because FlyQuest took them down last year. This year, Space Station Gaming, the DreamHack qualifiers. I mean, I think you might be able to pace that one up to Cloud9, assuming they're going to be invited and not really having a stake in it, but tough to say.
Well, I was questioning that too. I'm like, I wonder if they saw, NRG's in these qualifiers. We don't need to try. They're going to win, which means we're going to get a spot in RLCS. That was that.
It was like a spot from God, right? Like the Deus Ex Machina spot.
You're welcome.
Exactly.
And you can come too.
Yeah. Relating to the qualifiers, actually, one thing that Brody and I were talking about is that this season of RLCS feels unique in pairing with the DreamHack circuit because the qualifiers for these events are happening simultaneously with the RLCS, which isn't something that's necessarily happened in the past.
No, usually separate.
And that kind of gives us an interesting window into how the existing teams in their current form stack up against RLRS teams. Do you find that changes sort of your week-to-week analysis of like, oh man, we saw, for example, SSG, they won the qualifier, and then over in Europe, for example, like Complexity beat some really good teams. Does that change how you kind of go into your analysis week to week?
It certainly can sometimes because you have to go back and watch those games and be like, okay, why did they lose to this team that you think theoretically they should have beat? And if you see a similarity for why a team is losing in the RLCS versus rival series teams, then you'll be like, okay, there's a clear issue here with this team. But in terms of the Cloud9 one, they just lose to a team sometimes, man.
It's a Cloud9 trademark.
Yes, they'll just throw the ball into the corner. They'll have no boost. They're not going to get anything done on offense. And then everyone's going to go back to their day and be like, hey, we beat Cloud9. And then Cloud9's going to go to that tournament, and they're going to smack them into the ground.
They've got a chip on their shoulder after that one.
It's true, right? You think you had a chance. Nah. Let's move on to Ghost. Ghost finally got some wins. They were sitting 0-4 in league play for the first 3 weeks. Week 4 got them 2 wins against SSG and Rogue. Are we seeing an upswing, or was this just kind of they had matchups that were not as tough as Lethamyr was saying?
Well, Ghost had some awesome passing this week. Sure, they beat Space Station Gaming, who I think is a pretty solid contender for 4th, maybe even a 3rd place spot if they're on point all season long. I think they're that good. And Ghost definitely showed this week what they're capable of. A lot of great passing, Illusion setting up plays, Memory and Lethamyr able to follow through and get great offense going. Ghost showed the potential, and it's really on them to finish strong and bring that same level of vision and synergy back for week 5 if they want to continue to be successful. Because still, the first 3 weeks were not pretty, and you can be like, yes, you played well 1 week, but you got to do it week in and week out.
So one of the teams that we've talked about kind of maybe on the bubble, maybe not, maybe in the top, was G2. And much like SSG had kind of an up and down week, they smashed Splice, and then they got smashed by NRG. And I saw some interesting comments about saying how maybe JNAPS is overextending a bit too much on offense, and that's leading Rizzo out to dry a bit in a lot of situations. So is that something that they can potentially clean up to make a challenge again into that top 2 spot, or do they have what it takes to beat Cloud9 on a good day?
Do I think they have what it takes to beat Cloud9 on a good day? Absolutely. G2 definitely can beat the best teams in the world when they're on point. I mean, you saw it even back with Grenovi when they won E-League in 2018. There we go. I had to get all the years right. But they're definitely a strong team. Chicago and JNAP, sure, maybe they press a little too hard, but that's purely on Rizzo. If that's how that team chooses to play, then Rizzo needs to be able to be that strong 3rd back. Because you see that same situation happen all the time with Justin on NRG. Garrett G and Fireburner press a little bit too hard, and Justin's all alone on the backfield, and he makes a big stop. So if you want to be the best team in the world, you got to be willing to take risks. And whoever your 3rd man back needs to be able to cover those up. You can't always rely on someone being able to have your back. It's can you make the big play? Rizzo does sometimes, Rizzo doesn't sometimes, but that's how it goes with every player in the RLCS.
Now, we're almost out of time for NA, but I want to touch on EG. I think we missed them the last few weeks talking about them. EG still looking a little bit shaky. I mean, they had Drippe come over to be that star power from OCE to now try to shine in NA, but he hadn't found his footing. Last week it looked like he was a little bit better on the field, but I'm just wondering where you think each of these players need to be to make sure that this team works.
Well, because I had a thought of how Evil Geniuses was going to look versus Splice. It was maybe if they continue to have that 3rd man a little bit too far forward, which is what I was talking about in the previous weeks of RLCS, they might actually have some success because Splice hasn't had the strongest defense, in fact, the league lowest. So it brought them to a nice clean 3-0 win, but at this point, they're playing Ghost, and Ghost, if they bring back what they did in week 4, they're going to have to be able to cut down a lot of those passes and understand what they're trying to do with the ball, which is, I don't know if that's possible, just because I think Ghost were very much, hey, here we go. There's a guy there, cool. And they were sort of piecing it together as they went, it felt. It wasn't like, all right, get the ball to me, we'll give it right back. It was kind of just, I need to make a touch here and I can get it to a teammate. And Evil Geniuses, it's all on Drippe on that defensive line, because a lot of times he's the guy on the net, and he needs to be able to understand that pass coming from the side out to the middle and be able to cut down that passing lane. Otherwise, Evil Geniuses is going to have a rough go.
All right, we don't need to talk about Splice, so geez, I think that's enough North America for now. The playoff picture is even more complex in Europe, so we got to have you stick around for that. But before we dive in, here's some highlights of what went down.
Blot following on the wall. Bluey coming here. He'll get it through the front line offense and to carry it towards the goal. Beats one more. Can he get it through? Everybody get wow! And puts it in himself. Ball game as Bluey puts it onto the backboard. Can he be the hero one last time? Alpha for Alpha. Puts it in and through. They keep on going. Alpha advancing down. A nice flick into this one will be good. What a play. Not gonna lie there. 350, a nice shot from Ronicky, and in a wonderful infield pass back and towards the goals. This one just in. No, it's off the ball. He's gonna need some help. Can Scruffy get it? No, it's through him. And now Cassio and Tadpole. Ronicky gonna work this one all the way back down the field, and they've got the lead.
Waste more time off the clock. Fruity, a nice catch, flipping it around. Farah's there off the post. Oh, Fruity gets around, he scores. A lot now. High off the backboard. Demo opens it up. Tigre off the crossbar. It goes in.
You feel like you picked up right where you left off in game number 1. Still, great pressure out of the midfield from the Bricks, but execution from Barcelona.
So they keep the scoreline 2-0. Another demo. Bluey goes under. Big boy Bluey. Big plays.
From Violent Panda out to the middle. Chance for Cassio. Double tap. Upper 90.
Fantastic mechanical skill coming out from Triple Trouble with these double hits and these reads off the backboard. Ronicky
can't get the challenge just set. Going off the ceiling.
Oh. Ceiling shot just set.
What a play coming in right away, and he boosts all the way up to the ceiling. That's how fast he was able to get to the ball.
It was a week of upsets in Europe, to be sure. Despite the loss, Vitality is locked into the playoffs, but look at that. 2 wins each means PSG and Triple Trouble are right on their rear. As for the rest of the table, it's basically a 3-horse race for the final playoff spot between Dig, Bricks, and Mouse. Chiefs, let's get right into the biggest story of EU this week. Triple Trouble, they took out Vitality. That is nuts.
Yes, Cassio was out of his mind on Sunday. I was watching it and I was like, oh my goodness, what is this man doing? Because sometimes there was one goal I remember where he was like driving in front. He had 2 attacking players right in front of him. The ball is rolling onto his goal line and he just hits the brakes. And I'm like, oh my goodness. What kind of man would make that play? And then both the guys missed it and he drove up the other end of the field and scored it. And I was like, what? So
just
Cassio,
on something else.
Total beast Sunday.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just Cassio. I mean, like that whole team was stepping up too. Like we saw, even Ronicky popping off as well.
Yeah, and I mean the kind of the irony for this show in terms of the Triple Trouble is you were so emphatically saying they're not a playoff team, and honestly, we can't blame you at all because who could have seen this coming? Not only are they now a playoff team, there are scenarios where they finish second in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, is this possible? Like, other than Cassio, I mean, what is happening with this team?
Yo, man, you got me. I don't know either. But yeah, I think all of them were playing great Rocket League. I think Cassio was probably the biggest proponent, just for me personally, because it felt like he was winning a lot of challenges, getting the ball going back the other way so many times, getting chances for Tadpole and Ronicky to be successful. And I think that was the biggest key to their victory last Sunday. So coming into this Sunday, they've got 1 match against Barcelona, and they're going to need that same quality challenge play, especially against a team like Barcelona, because, they're another team very similar to Cloud9 and Justin and those individual playmaking efforts that can come out of pretty much anybody on that team.
Do you think that maybe the Vitality maybe slept on Triple Trouble a little bit because they were looking so confident, and although Gregan has told us before in the past that he keeps the guys really focused and into it, maybe there was some element of sleeping on this team?
Yeah,
I'm definitely with you on that one. I Vitality, just knowing what I know about some of those players, absolutely it's a team that can just be like, nah, we've got it, and you can be as focused as you want, but there's still a part of you that's not giving enough credit to your opposition, and Triple Trouble made them pay for it, I think.
Anyways, you brought up Barcelona, so why don't we talk about them for a bit? They got their wins over Mouse and Bricks, a 3-0 on Bricks. FCB looking pretty strong. I think they had a bit of a weak period. I think it was week 3, where they kind of just looked like everything fell apart.
Week 2 was they got perfect series.
Yeah. So is that week 2? So is this like the same situation as Cloud9, since we compare them to Cloud9 so much, where they're going to have that one off week?
I don't think so, because they played Vitality on that week where they got perfect swept, and Vitality was going to 3-0 sweep anybody with a perfect series that week. And week number 3, they ran into TSM, who historically has been a very stingy team on defense, very good at challenging the ball and understanding what they need to do. And even still, Barcelona almost pulled out that win in week number 3. And what was it? Week number 4, they just played PSG, and PSG was also lights out this past week, which was also a very pleasant surprise, I will say, because I've always wanted PSG to be successful, but Barcelona, they also had the 3-0 sweep versus the Bricks, so it's hit or miss with them, just like Cloud9. Are they on or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're hitting on all the teams we want to talk about, because next up, PSG. They stepped in a huge way. Fruity was popping, Chaussette popping with wave dash, upside down, ceiling, reverse shots. They now pretty well have almost 100% playoff chance after beating Mouse and TSM, and maybe living up to that desperate urge within you to get those wins. Talk to us about PSG heading into the playoffs here.
PSG all season long, coming into the season, you know, it's like, how do they put 300 plus shots on the board and then have like a 15 to 20% shooting percentage? You know, why are they not good? Well, this season they're putting balls in the back of the net and they're near the top of the standings. So well done, PSG.
It just came down to scoring goals. I mean, that's how you win the Rocket League.
Scoring goals. The opposition is good in Rocket League.
It's just the team has been so good at generating scoring opportunities because they led the league in total shots in season 6 of RLCS, and they barely scraped through. And now to see them have the same level of pressure, and Farah and all of them being able to get that accuracy refined and really square it and put it into the top of the net, is what has made them a very dangerous team.
I think for me the greatest thing was when we interviewed Fruity, and I had to ask him about the reverse sweeps. It's just a huge thing with PSG, and I said, was it at the back of your mind, once an opponent got a win, like, it's about to happen again? He just said, no, I didn't even think about it. And I think that's such a huge thing for PSG right now, is just to not even worry about any of that past history.
A good mindset definitely helps any team, and if PSG keeps playing like they did week 4, week 3, despite the loss to Triple Trouble in week 3, we'll skip past that because that was a reverse sweep. But yeah, if you're, it's what we call momentum a lot of times in Rocket League. You're feeling good, you play good, and that's how it works a lot of the time.
Let's turn our attention from the top of the table
basically
to
the biggest story here.
Ridiculous dog pile that's at the bottom of the table here. Bricks, Mouse, Dig, no wins among them this week. Not a single one happening, and they're all fighting to avoid relegation. Next week, Dig plays TSM and the Bricks, Mouse plays Vitality, and Bricks plays TSM and Dig. So certainly some incredibly important and difficult matchups coming up. Relegation picture, what do you got?
Rude, for one. I think, unfortunately, I think Dignitas definitely goes to relegation, and I think it's probably going to be Mouse. I think the Bricks can squeak out that win, and there's no way Mouse beats Vitality. So I have Dignitas and Mouse down in the relegation tournament.
It's just so wild, right? Like, wild to think that the last two major LAN winners are sitting in the relegation potential spots right now.
Well, the Bricks, it's been a
ride.
It's been a ride. Speed's been okay, and he really hasn't done too poorly, but he's just still not fully prepared on defense, it feels like a lot of times, because very similar to other teams we've talked about, they leave Speed in a one-on-2 or a tough one-on-one. You just can't make the big stop a lot of times to buy enough time, and that has resulted in the Bricks being the worst defense in the European RLCS currently, allowing over 2 goals a game. So
yeah. Do you think that's causing Kuxir to have to stay back a bit more rather than put himself on offense where we know he can put balls in the net?
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing, because the dynamic of the Bricks, it's very much Kuxir will be forward. Mystic will have to make a play and support behind him, win a challenge, get the ball going the other way. Mystic's very good at that type of thing. And him and Kuxir together can generate a lot of quality offense. And that team really shines when Speed is allowed to be that strong third man and come up and find the ball into the back of the net. But the team really just does struggle on defense sometimes. And do I think it should result in Kuxir being in the net a little bit more? I don't know. I think you need to bring Speed up to the level of everybody else before you say, all right, let's fix or change how we do things.
Bring Speed up to speed?
Bring Speed up to speed. There we go.
I'm sorry?
I'll let you have that one.
No, don't. We're erasing that.
So in the middle of the picture right now, we've got TSM. They lost 3-1 to PSG, but they're still right in the middle of that kind of upper middle playoff fight. Mets and Ignite have been having some pretty good seasons for themselves, but with heading into this final week, what weaknesses did you see that maybe PSG exploited that TSM can show up to guarantee that they have a really strong final week here?
Oh man. Well, again, PSG was having a lot of great pressure, great challenges, and that's still sometimes the biggest thing for TSM, excuse me. They will get trapped under their own half every now and again, and PSG was able to capitalize a lot on that. And that's because TSM always feels very willing to just let you bring that ball to them before they'll be forced to go and challenge you. They'll always try and wait for a quality challenge, and PSG had a lot of awesome plays this weekend. So perhaps that willingness to commit to a more passive approach on defense could have been their downfall versus PSG.
I guess we may as well just get your thoughts on Vitality right now, and just they again lost to Triple Trouble. Is this just proving the European region is extremely in depth or inconsistent?
Both.
Yeah, right. I think Fruity also agreed with that.
It feels like, we all predict the same things in North America because we understand what they're going to do. And the teams go out there and do that. We walk into Europe every week and we're like, well, give me 5-10 minutes to think all this stuff out real quick. And
then you still roll a dice.
Even still, at the end of the day, you're like, well, I think they're just going to be a little bit better today. And Europe, there's definitely depth. You cannot disagree with that. There's a lot of talent across a lot of different teams. It's a little bit top heavy in North America sometimes, or most of the time, or now. But Europe definitely has plenty of depth, but also, like Vitality, they came out there and they got slapped, and that's the inconsistency. Is how can Vitality look like they can 3-0 perfect sweep any team in the world for 3 weeks straight, and then just come out here and straight tank in week 4? I mean,
yeah. It's EU is nuts, but it's not over yet. But we are out of time for today. Chiefs and Man, that's all the time. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. And as I mentioned before, I'm sure we'll be back to making some incorrect predictions this weekend. I'll see you there.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
All right, Nick, we have just a couple minutes left here, so why don't we spend it chatting about the biggest news I think Rocket League has ever had. They just got bought by Epic Games. Psyonix is now under the Epic family.
This is absolutely huge news, and understandably, a lot of pros and a lot of community members and a lot of pundits from other esports had opinions on this.
Yeah. Well, why don't we look at them? Here's a few reactions from the news, some positive, some negative, and some memes. Starting off with Freaky, some, much like him, were a little unhappy with this news, as he just said, oh God, no, please no, for God's sake, no, 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 no.
Is that an Office reference?
Yeah, right, just no. Anyways, Gregan was on the other side. There was some people to keep it chill and positive, as Gregan offered some perspective on the news. I'm frustrated at the Rocket League community for how many irrational and assumptive conclusions people are making about Epic and what they plan to do with Psyonix and RL. Memes fine, whatever, it's the internet. Let them off, let's give it time and see what happens.
This is a pretty fair reaction, I think, yeah.
But people outside Rocket League were excited, like Golden Boy, who tweeted, whoa, this is big news. I wonder if Rocket League will continue to be offered on Steam or only EGS. That's a big question here. Happy for the crew at Psyonix. I'll never forget hosting the first Nosgoth stream, and they share with me this little game called Rocket League. Time flies.
Yeah, and Golden Boy's been around with a lot of games, so if he's feeling positive about this, it's probably a good sign.
Yeah, and of course, Justin just popped on and asked for a follow back from Epic because, everything's an opportunity for clout, I suppose.
Yeah, and I want to start just addressing this topic because it's totally understandable for the pros and the other community members to be the ones who are the most concerned about this, since it's
their career.
It's their career, it's their livelihood, and there's a lot of unknown here. And Epic has come out and said there's a couple of other statements coming about whether or not it'll be on Steam or it'll be on Epic Games Store or it'll be on both. But it's very unclear. Even in the ones that they did clarify later in the day, it was basically like, we don't have any plans to move it right now.
Well,
it was kind of a will they, won't they. So there's a lot of positives and there's a lot of negatives that we kind of need to sort through. But that's how it is with most announcements.
Well, it sounds like the plans, just with the ambiguity in their posts, is that the plans are to move it over to EGS, but Psyonix did come out with a statement saying that they will continue supporting the game on Steam forever. Like, they didn't say they're going to stop. So DLC and all that stuff is still going to be supported. You'll still get updates and patches. But beyond that, there's a lot of positives with it too. I mean, there's a lot of money behind Epic. They have a lot of money, by the way.
Just a small, tiny little bit amount of money.
Yeah, they probably have a separate building with just money in it.
And they have been investing a lot of money into Fortnite personally as a company, not just coming from like other sources, but Epic themselves have been putting a lot of money towards Fortnite Esports, which potentially bodes well for Rocket League
So could you
Esports.
see this being a good sign or a pump up for the Rocket League esports scene, or is nothing going to change?
I mean, in combination with the esports store, I think that this could potentially be a positive sign, especially if Epic, for example, is liking what the community is driving in terms of the revenue side of the esports model, right? If Epic isn't feeling it, then maybe probably things will stay the same. But that's one of the kind of the best and worst things about this announcement is that there's just a lot of unknown.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know how things are going to play out. They were literally acquired probably maybe like a couple months ago, and we're just hearing about it now.
Yeah.
But they haven't had any impact on the plans yet. And while there is some negatives to consider, like if it moves off Steam, the workshop is going to be gone,
That's
right?
true.
Theoretically, and a lot of people make custom game modes or like custom maps.
But Lethamir's whole YouTube channel
exactly.
is based around
So
that.
there are negatives to consider, but I'm with Greg, and I think there's a lot of positives here. And it's a wait and see game, and I think that if you're cautiously optimistic about this, there's going to be a lot to like.
So for all the people freaking out, what's your TLDR to them right now?
Just wait. I mean, it's really that simple. There's so many variables, and this is big business, right? And big business doesn't happen overnight. And us making judgments about stuff that we really don't know that much about, or what the Epic Flanish conversations have been like, we have no idea.
That's fair, but that's it. We're done. Thank you, Nick, for joining me to talk to Achieves, and thank you, people at home. Tomorrow we've got Marissa and Zurich revving their chainsaw guns.
They're called Lancers, really.
Well, I know that. As they'll be talking Gears of War. Till then, check out our socials at Squad State, or don't. I'm not your boss, but do. See ya.
Big thanks to Achieves, who's always bringing us the best Rocket League knowledge, aside from Brody, I guess. And also shout out to Red Bull as well for fueling us in the green room. Now that's it from us tonight, but be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time in the green room, because we'll be playing some more games. And then we're back as well at 8 p.m. with Unmuted, and we're talking Gears of War for the first time in Esports in 30. So remember, you can always hit us up on our socials at Squad State. So we'll see you tomorrow.